I am Saleemah, and I am a believing woman. I am firmly rooted in the Black and Muslim experiences here in America. This story is not about hijab, it's not about terrorism, and it's not about 9/11. This is my story about voting in the American Muslim community. My spirit surrenders to the Most High, and my body has incarnated in this form: African American, female, freckled. I claim all of this, and I claim the ancestors that come with this body and this spirit. I claim the faith of Hajar, a Black woman who was abandoned in the desert with her child by Abraham. She used her faith to move mountains and nourish humankind. I claim the conviction of Khadija, a wealthy businesswoman who proposed marriage to a younger man, a poorer man, a man known only for his good character. Later in their marriage, when he thought he was going crazy, it was Khadija's conviction that convinced him to honor the messages that he was receiving. Those messages would become the Quran, and that man was the Prophet Muhammad. I also claim my more recent ancestors, Maya Angelou, who said, "I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And I claim James Baldwin, who said, "Your crown is already bought and paid for. All you have to do is wear it." So Umi and Abu said, "Shine your light on the world, Saleemah," and I claim my right to self-determination, to self-expression. I claim my birthright to be seen and to be heard, and I claim the right to vote. The right to vote is both sacred and fundamental. This part of my story begins the day after the 2016 presidential election. I woke up, I looked at my phone, I was shocked and horrified. I put my phone down and I went back to bed. I was enraged, I was sad, I was depressed, and I started thinking about the people that I see every day in my walk of life. My neighbors, my colleagues, my acquaintances. Do they not want to see me? Do they not want to hear me? Do they not even want me here? Maybe not. I wasn't sure. I pulled the covers over my head, and then I heard a text message come in. It was my mother. And Umi's messages always come right on time. She sent a group text to the entire family, and her text message read, "Our ancestors have survived much more historically daunting moments than the one we are in right now. You come from a strong people. You come from an intelligent people. You come from a mindful people. Move ahead with determination and attention. I got your back. Love, Umi." This was the rallying cry that my family used to move forward. But I must say that I myself, it wasn't quite enough. So in a follow-up conversation with my mother, she said, "Listen, Saleemah, 3 more days, that's it. 3 more days, you can grieve this. By the weekend, it's over. Now is the time for you to go local in your life." I thought about that. What does it mean to go local? I meditated on it and prepared myself to receive an answer. And what came to me is that it was time for me to work locally in the place where I lived. Not so much overseas where I work, not in the other states that I've traveled to, but right here. Not with the millions out there, but with the dozens right here, and perhaps 100. It was about this time that I met the indomitable Aisha Yaqub. Aisha founded the Georgia Muslim Voter Project. Soon after, I joined her board, and soon after that, she resigned to run for office. And I was like, yay, Aisha, run, Aisha, do it. And then I said, wait a second, she's leaving. I'm not ready for that. We're not ready for that. But then I remembered, this is what I asked for. This was my opportunity to go local, to serve right here in the community that had given me shelter and sanctuary. The Georgia Muslim Voter Project is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that works to boost voter engagement in the American Muslim community. We do this through voter registration and getting out the vote. In the few years since we've been established, we've knocked on 1,000 doors. We've registered 1,500 voters. We've made 22,000 phone calls, and we've partnered with 50 mosques. Last year, in October 2018, 1 month before the midterm elections, we sued the then Secretary of State for voter suppression in this state in federal court. We won that case. And that case paved the way for HB 316, which went into effect last week, to ensure that every single vote in this state counts. When Aisha left the Georgia Muslim Voter Project to run, she joined a record number of Muslims nationwide running for public office at the local, state, and federal level. Since November 2018, we now have 55 Muslims in elected office around the country. A few examples: Movita Johnson Harrell from the Pennsylvania State House, Sheikh Rahman here in the Georgia State House, Ilhan Omar from Minnesota, Rashida Tlaib from Michigan, the first Muslim women in the US Congress. American Muslims number 3.5 million in this country, and we are the most diverse faith community in the country. We are also the youngest faith community in the country. And my personal favorite, we are the faith community most likely to support the Black Lives Matter movement. American Muslims are white and black, Asian and Arab, indigenous and Latinx. We span all racial, cultural, and ethnic groupings. We live in urban areas and suburban areas and rural areas. You will find us everywhere. The diversity in the American Muslim community reflects the changing demographics and the diversity of the American electorate. The Pew Research Center projects that in 2020, 1/3 of all voters will be of color. This is up from 1/4 in 2000. In addition, 1/10 of all voters in 2020 will be Generation Z voters. Those are our 18 to 23-year-olds. 45% of Generation Z voters in 2020 will be of color. This is the most diverse electorate in the history of our country. The Institute for Social Policy and Understanding polled American Muslims and asked them, what are your top issues? American Muslims said, the economy, healthcare, education. The Pew Research Center polled the American public and said, what are your top 3 issues? And they said, education, the economy, and healthcare. Our priorities and issues are the same. And yet, the narratives about American Muslims, or Muslims in general, still need to change. You already know all of the awful ways that we're presented in the media. And while there's some signs that things are expanding in the way we think of Muslims and how we interact with Muslims and how we represent Muslims, we still have a long way to go. No one image reflects all Muslims or all of Islam. It is heartening to see that there are representations of Muslims in various sectors, like government and academia and entertainment. There's a hijabi in The Walking Dead, We made it to the zombie apocalypse. This means something. I don't know what, but it means something. I fully expect some sort of a reference to Islam on Game of Thrones tomorrow night. My friend said I shouldn't use that example because Game of Thrones is not this world. A better example would be Kamala Khan from the Marvel series. I said, you're making my point. Thank you. That said, as I travel around the country and beyond popular cultural references, as I travel around the country, which I've done over decades, literally 2 decades, what I've come to know is that the real revolution is happening at the community level. I've sat with literally hundreds of people in local communities who are wrestling with issues of tolerance and understanding, welcoming, and belonging. And the real work and the real progress is being done block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, community by community. Most of the facts and figures that I use today came from the Pew Research Center and the and the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding. I hope that in the short time that we had today, that we were able to connect a little bit better. This is my story. It is the story of my community, and it is the story of our country. Thank you.